So today, uh, the channel hit 300, which was, I never thought it would hit 300. I was surprised when it hit 100, I'll be honest with you. Um, I'm simply doing what I like to do, and it's so much fun to be able to share it. I don't think I'm the best at this. Obviously, there are much bigger channels and people that do much brighter and bigger things than I do, and are great successes at it. Um, so I didn't think that this channel had a opportunity really to do anything other than to be a way to express myself, maybe only to myself, because I've done that before. uh, Being an only child, or being raised an only child, and being alone much of the time, I have talked to the camera many times. No one ever sees that or has seen that. And this is very much like that. Renee, you made it. I just look down at the screen. Hi, howdy, Renee. Hi, Lone Star. Good to see you. But basically what I was saying is that I never expected this channel to go beyond 25, 50 people. And the fact that there are 300 people now subscribed just amazes me. Welcome. Oh, it's so good to see you folks here. Well, thank you. Thank you. I know it's not a huge number, but you know what? I'm still going to celebrate it. And I'm going to celebrate it with a prize. That's right. Hold on. Okay. I have a big box of goodies here. Hi, Jane. What a great name. It's good to meet you, Jane. So in the gift pack that someone's going to win, there's one of my bars of Pucker Up. That's my lemon soap. Here, there will be some of the bath salts. Is this too bright? Can you folks actually see the labels? Because looking at the screen, it looks a little blurry to me. I don't know if you can see them. There will be a bar of Desire soap. This is my classic gentleman soap. There will be an exfoliating oatmeal, my zesty tomato that many of you saw me create here, my Oh Baby soap, which is actually 3 bars of soap, my green tea and mint soap, the bone set that you all saw me make on the channel, one that I call Dreamcatcher, Stallion. Let's see, this one is Starry Night, one of the big Dreamcatcher bars. So anyway, there's a lot of soap here, plus lotion. I'm going to be sending out one of the coffee cream lotions. There's also going to be, well, there'll be some other goodies as well. But all of this weighs almost 7 pounds. So let me move this out of the way and I'll be right back. So I put that together especially for you all. And I'm really looking forward to sharing it all with you. So let me read through a few of the messages. Terrific. Well, I can tell you that this is an outlet for me, making soap, that I enjoy more than I can tell you. I had a really rough day yesterday, and I won't go into the details of that. There's no need to, because today's a better day. But if not for working on the Good Soapy Morning videos, which forced me to get out and walk and spend time with the dog and spend time in nature, this has actually been good for me. I'm getting more exercise. I'm talking more, which is unusual for me. If you knew me as an individual, other than my job where I have to talk, I'm not shy, but I'm a little more reserved. And this has allowed me to be the me I didn't even know was within me. The me that I lost as a child. I was a rather subdued, scared kid. And this has allowed me to open up and actually find the more gregarious side of myself. And that's thanks to all of you, to everyone here that comes and watches the channels or purchases a product. And I'm not asking when to purchase anyone. I'm just saying that all that support has been more than I ever expected out of this. I mean that. But thank you all. I really do appreciate it. Well, that's great. That's great. And I know these live things are rather sporadic. I'm not very good at this, the setup. I don't know even how clear this is. I don't know if you can hear me clearly or see me clearly. I don't have a way of checking that easily. That's right, Lone Star. It is very much like therapy. You're absolutely right. Uh, that is where the word therapeutic comes from, right? It's the ability to find self-help, to self-diagnose in some cases, and self-discover. And that is what a lot of this is about. Maddie, howdy. So glad you can make it. It's good to see you. I was just talking to everyone about the way that I'm going to celebrate hitting 300, which I never thought I would ever do, but that's great. And I don't care if it grows beyond this. If it does, that's fine. But this is tremendous as it is. Really, I'm not out searching to grow. There are other channels I know that do that, and more power to them. And I wish them all the success. I think if you reach 1,000 members, you get monetized, which means you make a few cents off ads and things. Well, quite frankly, I don't think I want ads on my channel because I don't support a lot of the products that they would probably want to advertise. So I'm okay right here as I am. If it does grow, that's fine, but I'm not pushing hard for that. And I get messages. I had 2 today in my spam folder, or sub for sub. You know, they're like, I found your website, so come look at mine. I don't have the time in the day to, unfortunately, to subscribe to hundreds of channels, nor desire to. The few channels that I do subscribe to are soaping channels because that's where my love and interest is. So I need to read up a little bit here. Terrific. But I will also preface, not preface, it's too late for a preface, but I will follow that up by saying that I understand people's desire to grow because I believe people make more money with advertising and affiliate things and that kind of stuff. And I do some of that affiliate stuff. If there's a product that I've bought on Amazon, you'll see it in my description. And I say, here's a link to the mold or to the chamomile powder, whatever it may be that maybe I've purchased. I will put a link to those things. And if you want to click on it, you can. And supposedly you can make a few cents off a sale. But quite frankly, in our business, I don't think you can make that much money at it. Now, if I were saying this is the computer I use or the camera I use, and I had one of those $2,000 Canon cameras or something, then I think a person would make more money. But that's really not, I don't have a fancy Canon camera, nor do I have a fancy computer. So that's not really my area. Yeah. I got you. I understand, Renee. But I like this. You know what I like about this, about all of this, is the ability to connect with each of you and learn something about you. Renee, you and I, either here or in our emails or in our telephone conversations, you're like a lost sister. I mean that. That's sincere. I'm not just throwing that out there. Now, does that mean we're really, really close and know everything about each other? No, that would take years, right? But I do feel a kinship towards you. I think you're a genuine, sweet, dear person who cares about others. You've exhibited that. And so I think we're connected in that way. Am I that sweet and giving? I have my moments. Isn't she? I agree. She is absolutely a tremendous person. Thank you. I appreciate that. But one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I tried to do the it's really hot in here. I'm sorry. Matter of fact, the only reason why I don't have the fan on is because of the noise that it would create on the camera. I don't have a great mic, so as it is. So what I need to do is turn down the air a little bit. So give me a moment to do that, and I'll be right back. Thank you, thank you. I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. Now, what I wanted to tell you all is that I'm using a new camera, not one I bought, but one someone sent me. One of the members, you've probably seen her. Her name is Joan Backer on here. She and I have known each other for several years, by the way. She found my channel. I'm not sure how she found me, but she found me. We've known each other for many years. She worked for me in a previous incarnation. And she came to one of my live things and she basically told me it was really bad, right? And she offered me a webcam, which I had one, but I didn't even know where it was. And quite frankly, that didn't really appeal to me. And so, and I don't like taking things from people, but she sent it without me knowing, because I had sold her some soap. She bought it from me on Etsy. So she had my address and she sent me this webcam, which is what I'm talking to you on now. So I don't know what the quality is. I don't know how it looks. I don't know how it sounds. It's the first time I plugged it in and used it. So I'm going to be dependent on you folks to let me know, is this better than doing it on the computer webcam, which I've done in the past, or do you think that that worked better? I really look forward to whatever clarification you can offer me. I think a soap exchange is a fun idea. And many of us have already sort of done this in different ways by sending soaps to each other. And Renee has actually reviewed some of my soaps on her channel. I've reviewed some of hers. So a few of us have done this sort of thing in the past, but I like the idea of just like sending a single bar here and there. Someone had asked me to do this. Another soaper, I can't remember her name now. She's in Ireland. And we had kind of talked about it and it kind of didn't go anywhere, but that was my fault, not hers, because I didn't follow up on it. I tend to procrastinate on things. And that was one of those things. It's fuzzy. I'm sorry for that. Okay. I apologize. I'm not sure that there's any way that I have to clear that up, short of getting a better connection. Let me explain. My job is through what's called a VPN, a virtual private network, and I have to be connected to that. I work Tuesday through Saturday, all of those days, and then I'm off Sunday and Monday. So if I do this show during the week, which is like what I'm doing now during lunch, if I do something like this, it's while I'm also logged into the VPN, which really sucks up the bandwidth. It really does take a lot of bandwidth. And I've ran ping reports when I'm logged into the VPN and done trace routes. That's kind of techno jargon for checking the speed. And it is greatly reduced. So doing a live video chat while logged into the VPN is really not the greatest idea. But for me, it's about the only way that I can do it during the week, because on my days off, I'm having to work on my farm. I have to take care of the animals. As a matter of fact, I have to work on a fence this weekend and work on a barn. The barn's an ongoing thing. And I can only do a little bit at a time with it, but that's where I'm spending my time. So if it's choppy or fuzzy, that's why. So maybe these aren't a good idea right now, and I should refrain from doing these until, I've got some free time on weekends to do them, or I can get another internet connection. I've considered I was going to go buy another cell phone, but I had to actually spend some money on my dog, and so I didn't buy a new phone, but I do plan on buying a new phone and getting a new telephone service provider, and hopefully can get a faster connection where I can hotspot with that even during the week when I'm logged into my job and have a better, stronger connection. Hope that makes sense. Right, Moonfern. Isn't she great? I just love her. She's got such a great channel, and she's such a really sweet person too, and does beautiful work. She's great at embeds. She does some just gorgeous embeds. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. But what's the purpose of doing this, though, if I don't ask you a few questions or have you ask me a few questions? So I want to ask you all a question. I don't know exactly what you look for on a soaping channel. That dozens and dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of soaping channels, some giant ones and some little tiny ones. I try to always subscribe to the little bitty ones, the ones that have only 5 or 10 people or 25 or less than 100, or those I always subscribe to. I find them, I leave them a little message and go, howdy, welcome to the YouTube soaping community, and I'll welcome them on board. The great big ones, I kind of get lost in the crowd on those anyway, so I'll jump in and look at their videos on occasion, but don't spend as much time on those. They have all the people they can handle anyway, and many of them can't even respond to a lot of the people that are on their channel, which is, I understand, if I had 100,000 people, how do you possibly answer all the questions? I don't know. All that being said, I've looked at so many channels, and a lot of it's the same, including mine, right? You're looking at a pot of oil and a pot of lye and maybe some colorants, and they put it together and they pour it in a mold, and it doesn't vary too much. So I've been trying, that's why I've been adding a few other things for you just to make it more interesting, because I think about what I would want to look at, and I like to see a little of everything. I like to see some lotions made, maybe see bath salts made. So I've been trying to incorporate those sort of little things in the Good Soapy Morning videos, or adding a little more of the outdoor kind of stuff in there, because that does relate to soaping. I absolutely use a lot of those products in here. For instance, I was gathering, well, here, I'll show you. I was gathering wheat and rye today, right, for my property. And I actually grind those up. I do make a flour from them. I don't have enough to make enough flour to make cakes and pies and breads and things like that. Mostly the goats eat this stuff. So, but I do grind up some of this, and I do put it in soaps sometimes. I've done it in the past, and it's very decorative and pretty, and so there's that. Where I was going with that, though, is that for me, I really like the idea of being able to venture out and see that sort of thing from others. Where do you get stuff? I think it's Jen from Gentle Soaps. She gets out and goes places, and the same with Gypsy Faye, Tierra. They go out and they go to the sea, or they go on vacations and things, and it's all sort of soap related, or they will relate it back to their soap, and I think that's fantastic. But I guess what I would ask you all is, what makes you stay on a channel, on a soaping channel? What makes you stay and stay interested? Because, and I'm asking for selfish reasons. I want to do those things, but only because I want you to stay. What's the purpose of having people if they're not actually looking at it? I mean, just for a number? I don't care about how many people are here. I care about what you're getting out of it, because I'm doing this. Is it selfish? Yes. I say I'm doing it for you. Yes. I'm also doing it for me. As I've said before, it's an outlet. And does it feel good to have someone say something good about something you make? Of course it does. But I'm okay also with criticisms. Somebody, I think it was Jen from Gentle Soaps, said that the last soap one of the last soaps I made, the one with the heart in it, the juniper heart. She said it looked like bologna. I cracked up. I was rolling because she was absolutely right. I didn't see that at first, but I thought it does look like a slice of bologna. So those sort of things are okay. I get a kick out of that. I've had people come on the channel and say insulting things, and I do remove those posts, but I'll tell you why. Not because it hurts my feelings, because it really doesn't, because most people that say those things are young kids. They're just, as I've said before, they're leaving poop on my doorstep, right? They're just playing. And so I just don't bother. I just delete the post. But the main reason I do that is because it causes conflict on the channel, because then you folks would jump in and maybe say something. And I don't want you to be stressed by it. Who needs that? We have enough stress in our own lives. We don't need anything extra. I'm just reading it. I know. No, it cracked me up, Maddie. I wouldn't be offended. There is nothing that anyone can say about anything that I've done that I haven't already thought. You've seen the videos I've done where I say it looks like baby poop, because it does to me, right? And those are the ones where I'm like, oh, why did I do this, right? And I've had more than one like that where they turned into baby poop. But in the end, they turned out okay after all. And the same with my bologna. It has actually darkened in the last few days, and now it's more like a smoked sausage. I got you, Renee. And it's okay. I wouldn't consider that mean. And I want to hear these. You know, another benefit to hearing things like that too, because I do put some of these things up for sale, right? Not a lot. I mean, you'll see that most of the soaps I make never end up on my Etsy. I put up a few. The truth is I don't have the time to do the Etsy stuff as much as I would do if I didn't have a job. So I don't get on that as much and upload things. I try to do it occasionally. But most of these things, if I don't give them away, I sell them at market when I go, which is one of the things I want to talk to you all about, is that I was supposed to do market today. I had actually arranged this through my job to take off some time, and someone else got sick and I couldn't take off. So things happen, right? But I'm going to send some. The market thing is going tomorrow, so I'm going to send a couple boxes of the stuff with someone else, because I have things around here I have to do. I can't go to a market on one of my only days off during the week. So I'm going to send it to someone else, let them take it, and hopefully they can sell some of the stuff. But quite frankly, I prefer to be there because I can describe things to people. I can tell them what's in it, because they may look at it and go, well, what's that? Or what does this do? Or, what does it smell like? I wrap all my things and I don't leave scent holes in them. I know some people do that. I probably should, but I don't like people touching the soap, because I don't want someone else getting soap with someone else's oily hands, hopefully it's just oil, on their hands on the soap. So I've thought about putting some samples out, but then again, various people would touch it, and there are germs around, so I should look at how some other people do those sort of things. It's so good to have those of you, have you folks here. I'm really excited to have you here. I am. And I appreciate the feedback that you've given. Tutorials, I think you're right. That's something I enjoy doing that. So I'm going to try to strive more to do more of that kind of thing. And to me, a tutorial, you answer me if you agree with this, because I think a lot of people use that term rather loosely. Some people go, okay, I'm pouring the lye into my soap, I'm pouring it into the mold, there's my tutorial. To me, a tutorial is a little more descriptive. I think that in a tutorial, you kind of need to go at it, not like you're talking to another soaper, but like you're talking to someone who's never done it before. Do you agree with that? Describing what is lye? What is it? Why is it dangerous? Why do you pour the lye into the water and not pour the water into the lye? I've heard so many people talk about, oh, it'll explode in your face. That's not really true. Sure, I suppose you could make that happen, but that's not exactly true. But maybe show someone what does happen and how it is dangerous, and what the dangers are. And also show them that even the dangers that exist aren't necessarily life ending. There are things you can do. Put on some goggles, put on some gloves. And I always have my goggles and well, I say that. Yeah, here they are. I always have these things within reach when I'm working. Now, I've only shown you folks this part of my room. That's only because the other side is kind of under construction. When I say under construction, I'm building new shelving for that wall. I have several bookcases full of soaps and lotions and things over there, but it's not attractive to the camera. And I'm actually building new shelving. I started it a couple weekends ago. It'll probably take me a few more weekends to finish that. That's another thing I have to do on my days off. And once that's completed, then I'll share more of that with you as well. I'm just reading, catching up. It's so good to have you here. Hi, Cheryl. Anyone that I've missed, it's because I'm looking at the camera, because I think people prefer you to look at them rather than looking down at the computer. So I try to look down at the computer less. Right, going into detail. So, and I did that in the past, but they're not very good quality. And matter of fact, I've thought about going and cleaning some of those up. But I agree. So what I will do, and I'm glad we had this talk, because you actually made it clearer for me to understand what is needed, because I've thought this too. I really have. Now, there are people out there that are far better teachers than I am on a myriad of subjects. There is a guy, as a matter of fact, I'm going to suggest you all look him up. He's not subbed to my channel or anything like that, and I gain nothing by telling you this. But look up a channel called Learn Your Land. Learn Your Land. It's a channel. He is a young man up in Pennsylvania who is a mushroom fanatic, among other things, but he's knowledgeable. When he speaks about a subject, a mushroom or a grass or a flower, most of his stuff is about medicinal things, and I've learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from books, but I also learn from hearing from other people that are knowledgeable. Now, I don't take for granted when someone says I'm knowledgeable about a subject. I look at their background. I look at the subjects that they are quoting and where those quotes come from. If they say there has been a medical study, I'll look up that medical study. I'll go to the Maryland College of Biology and I'll look at the study that they did, or any papers that were written, or those sort of things. So it's really important to check people out. But this guy, I think you will really enjoy. So I only point him out so that you can enjoy what I found in him, because I think he's great. Maybe some of you already have. Hey, High Notes, welcome. I'm so glad you could make it. And talk about a great channel. If you folks haven't checked out High Notes channel, I have a rather disorganized life in many regards. But in other areas, I'm very, very organized. One of the things that I believe in for my life, that what's important to me is to organize the things that affect my daily life. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, whether or not my linen closet is organized, whether or not the towels are in order by color or size or anything, that doesn't affect me on a daily basis. I just reach and grab a towel, right? But other things like my labels for my soaps and things, and my actual soaps and lotions and things, I keep those in notebooks. I have very meticulous notebooks on when the date I made something, the ingredients that were in it, whether the date that it is okay to sell it, also if it used ingredients that I need to reorder soon. That's an important column. Now I realize there's soaping software out there. There's Soap Cow, or not Soap Cow. Oh, it's just on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it, but there's some soaping software that a lot of people use, and it's really fantastic. I don't have that. I've got my own Excel documents and I keep notebooks and things like that. But High Notes, good job. Love your channel. Okay, I've got to read a bit here. I was reading, Maddie, good explosion. Sure, dragon's blood is, well, it's a fragrance oil. Okay, it's not an essential oil, and I think there is a lot of misinformation about it out there. There is a style. It's generally black and red. I made one myself, just to do it for no other reason than I had the ingredients to make it, so I made it. It and answered your question. It's a fragrance, and I don't know exactly. I don't know the history of it, so I'm not gonna make it up as I go along. You might have to do a little research on that. From everything I've seen on it and that I've read about it, though, it's just a fragrance oil. It may have been a perfume at one time. I don't know. Someone else may have researched that, know more about it. Donna, old versions are the finest versions. Okay? We know, okay, we old soapies, I think, are a little more comfortable in our shoes. Um, I try never to, I don't like bragging or self congratulatory language, but I do think it's okay to say, I understand this. I know why this happens. Like, I understand what the application process is. I have enough knowledge to understand that. I've read about it and I understood it from the time I was pretty young. I understood what happens with lye and soap and super fatting. That's a whole nother subject we could talk about sometime. But all these sort of terms and what they really mean and the truth behind them, and there are a lot of fables too about soaping, and these fables continue to be told on YouTube. I hear all sorts of things, but I'm going to be very careful on this because I don't want to offend any of you who may believe some of these things. It's like anything. It's like someone's religion, right? I know to walk carefully around religion or their political views. These are things that people hold very dear to them. We may disagree on politics. We may disagree on religion. We may disagree on soaping, got ways to do different things with soaping. But we can still be human to each other. We can still be caring about each other. And I think that's the one thing that this community has that a lot of the other communities I see don't have. Somebody that subscribed to my channel has a gaming channel, and I did check it out just to see what it was. Well, the first thing I look at are people's comments. Before I may start the video, but then I scroll right down and start reading the comments. And I do that with any of your channels as well. And I look at comments for one very specific reason. It's to see what the character of that person is, because I can tell more about the things that they say to people in comments or the comments they allow to stay on their channel than anything else about them. And a lot of people on their channels allow a lot of language to go unchecked. There is another soaping channel, and I will not mention the name of the channel, but I saw one person on there make a comment about they were a feminist or something, and they were attacked by several other people who said feminism's destroyed the country and this and that. Whether or not I believe any of that one way or the other, I'm not going to talk about right now. But I just thought it was so mean, the way they attacked each other, and there was name calling from several people, bullying up on one person. And I don't understand that. I really don't. To me, that's like grade school stuff, where the mean girls, and I'm sorry, I'm only saying girls because this was my experience as a kid. The mean girls would form these little groups and attack the homely girl or the poor girl who wore the same dress 2 or 3 times in a week, and I saw them just attack and be so cruel. And that was usually the person I befriended because I was an outsider too, being an abused child. I went toward other kids that were abused. I don't know if you know that there is such a thing, but there is a kind of magnetism that broken people sometimes have for each other. But that being said, I can tell a lot by going to these channels and seeing these things. And so I try to avoid that kind of stuff on this channel. It's okay to talk about soap. It's okay to talk about personal things and touch on these subjects, but it can be done in a friendly, warm way. Like today, I watched as much as I could of the John McCain funeral and the various people speaking. And it was so nice because you got to see people from various different backgrounds coming together, sitting beside each other, talking to each other, hugging each other. People who normally are politically like this, constantly at each other, being respectful, being actually jovial with each other. So that means it's possible. We don't have to be so divided. Red and blue come together and create purple. Such a beautiful color. Okay, so look who's here. Hi, Steffi. Welcome. It's great to have you here. So many great people here. Just catching up here. It's great to have you here. Just talking about being kind to one another. That's something that, and you actually are someone who's brought this up in the past too, about trolls and that kind of thing. I've been lucky there. What I was talking about earlier is I have one person that leaves really nasty comments, and I usually just delete them so that other people don't have to look at that nasty stuff. But what I can say about that is it's not necessary. We're all adults. We can be nice to each other no matter what we may think personally about someone's personal life or what they think or who they love or where they worship, those sort of things. This should be about soaping. That's what the channel's about, right? I'm just trying to catch up on some posts. You said it, Renee. Ain't that the truth? You said it. Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I won't get into analogies and telling stories about my own experiences. What do I mean? I do that all the time. Okay, I guess I will. I have a neighbor who has moved in within the last year. One old lady lived on the next property over. She and her husband and family lived there for 50 plus years, and they slowly died off. So the property sat vacant for a long time. And I've had the same thing happen on this side of me and across the road and behind me. I'm the only one really who has stayed here. Everyone around me has died, moved away, or sold. But this person who moved in is of Latin descent. I really, quite frankly, at first had no idea where they were from, nor did I care at first, right? They're just a new neighbor. One of the first things that happened was that I got a call from someone, and this has happened to me twice with two different neighbors who've contacted me and said, oh, we've got this type of person moving into our neighborhood now. What are we going to do? What are you going to do? Be a good neighbor. Take them some soap, which is what I did, that's my welcome wagon thing. I take people soap, lotions, that sort of thing. That's what I do, so why not? I don't sell my goat milk, but I will give goat milk away to people. It's illegal to sell goat milk here in Texas unless it comes from one of the great big dairies that have been licensed. I think here locally, Borden and Oak Farms do sell a goat milk that's been homogenized, pasteurized, and Martinized. I don't know what. People oftentimes they eat goat, right? So I've made connections with these people. They're good people, they're good neighbors. And whether or not you agree with someone's lifestyle, their race, or their whatever, their funny hair, right? Whatever it is about someone that sets them apart, if you can look beyond that, you will oftentimes find a very good person who's just been misunderstood or been misrepresented in some cases. I live in a state where there's a lot of anger toward the people down south. And probably Lone Star might know a little bit more about this than I, considering where they live in the state. But there's a lot of that kind of things. But I just wish we could smile more at folks. I try to do that, at least in my voice. I don't always feel like smiling. I've talked about this before. I have depression, and it comes on pretty much without warning. The other day, this was yesterday, I got a Instagram, which I've got an Instagram account. I don't even know how to use it. I'll be honest. I opened up these things when I opened up YouTube because everyone said, you need an Instagram, you need a Pinterest, you need a Twitter. So I opened these things up and I haven't even figured out how to use them yet. But someone found me. A relative found me. A relative of a relative of a relative kind of thing. And they contacted me yesterday. And they were asking questions about someone who abused me as a kid, who they died years ago, but they were asking questions about them. And it just started bringing up stuff, which I try never to think about. But what this woman said to me was that how much she enjoyed him and that he took care of her kids 20 years ago. This sort of just came out in her. I didn't know Instagram that you could do chat. I started getting these chat messages and I responded back and she responded. And she said she was asking about a couple of the relatives and then this one came up and then she was talked about her experiences and it just blew my mind because in my mind, her kids were probably molested by the same guy. I didn't know what to say to her. He's dead now anyway, so there's nothing that could come of it. But what do you do with something like that, right? What do? I go into my dark place. And so that was why I took the walk yesterday into the woods, and that's good for me. It takes my mind off it. So I have found ways to deal with it better. And I'm rambling into an area of which I didn't plan on going, so I apologize. I am sorry for that. There are those. I agree. I do agree. There are, you're right. Grinches is a good word, Steffi. There are some people, absolutely some people that will never change. That's right. The only thing I can say about that is that the rest of us have to kind of be the guardians, right? For when those people are about in life. I don't know about YouTube and this virtual community so much. I'm not good at that. But in the real world, if you see, someone's doing harm to others, they're probably always going to be doing that. There are very few times that I've heard of a child abuser or of a molester, those sort of things changing. So it's a good idea if you know of these things, I think, to speak up. Like this guy, my abuser, if he were still living, I'm not joking with you, I'd be marching in front of his house with a sign. I would, warning people to keep their kids away. Anyway, okay, so I diverged way away from what I was talking about. That's interesting that you use that word because my mother used to use a term for people that just talked and talked and talked to hear themselves talk. She called it diarrhea of the mouth. Maybe that was an implication of what was coming out of their mouth. Don't know. Well, my mother had other expressions. She had one where, well, that one I'll leave out because it may be a little too adult. But anyway, yeah, there are so many things that we can learn from each other. I love learning from you all, and each of you have taught me something. When I go over to Sin City and watch their videos, I learn something. And it may be something, maybe even something I already knew, but it may confirm that, or I see something like, wow, I never thought about doing that. I can go over to Katie Carson's channel and I can see something and go, wow, I could never do that. Or I can go and look at Renee's channel. What a unique concept, right? To do silent movies or do a silent movie theme of both old and current movies and do the cards. Do you see how beautiful the text is on those cards, the work that she does? That's amazing to me. And each of you have your own special something that sets you apart. None of us are identical. I was at another channel, the poor thing. She doesn't have very many people on her channels, but I subscribe to her. And she made the most god-awful soap you've ever seen. I'm sorry, it was. And I've made them too. I think all of us who've made soap have had those that just went. And she made this soap and it was like a really ugly baby, right? I mean, the nicest thing you could go is, well, it's so small, right? And for hers, the nicest thing I could think to say was, it doesn't have any air holes in it, right? I mean, I had to find something. But the reason I say this is that nobody had commented on her channel. No one had given her a thumbs up or a thumbs down. She only had like 40 subscribers or something. And I just thought, even if you don't like something, you can say something, right? You can say, great sound. I really was able to hear you clearly in that video. I think that these are things that we can do because sometimes that's that little something that can really turn someone's day around. They know if their soap is ugly, if they're whatever they made. I know, you all know if you've done it. We know. Let's see, is Renee here from the other Renee? I don't know if she's here from the frog, designer frog. I don't know if she's here. I don't see her. But she has a video and she claims it's this horrendous, ugly soap. She hates it. It's one of her oldest videos on her channel. When I looked at it and I thought, really? That's the ugliest, right? It's all about self-perception. So and I could probably never convince her by saying that's not an ugly soap at all. I'd use that soap. That's not going to help her probably too much. But if I say, I really thought it was funny how you described it, be honest, right? Talk about something else that's beneficial. If somebody has a funny accent, or no, that's the wrong word. If they have an accent unlike your own, comment and talk about how charming they sound in their video. I've done that with folks. Anyway, I shouldn't be trying to give you lessons on what to do, and I apologize for that. But it's just, I see a dearth of that, and I think there should be a lot more people leaving little comments for others. I find it helpful when people say something and they just say, my favorite color is green, my favorite color is blue, or my favorite scent is lavender, or I really like this tree or that. I find it helpful because I store that information so that when I'm making soaps, I think, you know what? This person said they really like red, and I don't ever do anything in red. So I'm going to try to make a really red soap. It can help. It helps them sometimes because, that to know that they're heard, that it helps me to grow too. Cheryl, I love that. And that's a great thing to do, actually, because if you show someone yourself, this is sort of like our personality. If someone has seen you at your absolute worst, when you're pulling your hair out and you're like this, and they still love you, they're going to love you when you're at your best even more, right? So I think showing that ugly side, even in soaping, is beneficial to us. You know, Lynn, I understand. I do. I've been there. I was there. But what's to be afraid of? What is the worst thing that can happen? No, really, I think that's important for you to think about it. What is the worst thing that can happen? What's the absolute worst thing that could happen if you put up a video? I want you to answer. Everyone else, just give her a moment here. But I'm asking Lynn, I want her to tell us what's the worst thing that could happen if you did a video, Lynn. I'm waiting. Negativity. Okay. Look at all the friends you have right here. There is not a person here, and I don't think a person on my entire channel who wouldn't come check out your channel if you created a new soaping channel. You know, all you'd have to do is come in onto one of my videos and go, and Patrick, I just started my own channel. And I may even come over to your channel and then I might even do a special review of your channel or something. That's not hard for me to do. We're going to give you positive, and I won't give you negativity, but I'll try to give you positive information. You may do better than I've done. Believe me, there are people who've done much better soaps and lotions and all the things that I do. There are people who do it better, but I don't let that keep me from doing them. Because while I think sometimes, and so others have said this, sometimes different is better than better. And I want you to keep that in mind. Okay? You know, a lotion that I make may not be as creamy as something that you get from Jergens. Okay? It may have a different texture that you're really used to. But I doubt Jergens has the amount of affection and care that I put into harvesting my goat milk, at homogenizing it, at taking care of picking my own ingredients that I know are organic. It came right out of my garden, right into my house. So you get what I mean? There are variations between what we all do. What you do, what you might do with your soaps, may be far and above more different, and maybe it's your accent. Maybe it's your beautiful hands. Everybody has their own thing. I see people. Oh, sure, I'll put my old gnarly hands up there, but I've seen people with their beautiful fingernails done. I've seen people with their nubs, but they have a fantastic attitude. And I enjoy that video just as much because of the attitude, the friendliness. There's some people that have beautiful sets with stainless steel and glass and beautiful lights and a much better camera than I could ever afford, and better products, better molds, and all those things. But we all have our own thing, and I just don't want you to not do it out of fear. Fear is not a good reason not to do something. It is a reason a lot of people have used throughout life for so many things, because they were afraid, including me. I'm not better. I've been afraid of things most of my life. But I've learned, sadly very late in life, but I've learned that fear is a waste, that you'll wear yourself about things that may never happen, fearing things that really aren't that scary. You said negativity. So what if someone says, that's the ugliest oatmeal soap I've ever seen? Great, I'll try to do better next time. You just gave it right back to them, right? Or to say to them, wow, I really appreciate that. I didn't think it was my best work either, but I'm going to keep trying. Don't let it be your downfall, because for people, first of all, anyone that says that, they're trying to elicit a negative response from you. Sadly, there are a lot of people who can only feel better by making others feel bad. And that's the truth. If you feel worse than I do, then I feel better. That's a very sad way to be, but there are a lot of people that are that way. So yeah, you may get some of those, but you please don't let the opportunity pass you by of sharing your own art with us. And you can, by the way, you can start out by only sharing it with people you want to share it with. You don't have to put it public. You can do it as an unlisted and then send us the link. There's absolutely a way to do that. So those that you do trust, not to be mean, can check it out first and give you an opinion. Just a thought. There are always ways to do these things. I just don't want you to do it out of fear. That's all. That's right. That's what Renee has done over at Renee Cornelius' channel, Soaps for Love. She doesn't go on camera. She only recently started sharing her voice with us. You know, she only did the silent stuff, but she does some videos with her voice. And that's been successful for her. She's got over 100 subscribers now. So there are ways to do this. Absolutely. I think that's terrific. Now, I'll tell you this. When you first put your video, because I didn't go to other soaping channels, I just put up my video and waited, which isn't what you're supposed to do, but it's what I did. I didn't go out and say, come see my soaping channel or anything like that. I didn't even know how to do that. It didn't even occur to me. But I decided to create a YouTube channel because I was dumb enough not to know. And sometimes that kind of ignorance is bliss. Because I just thought, I'll just put it up until people show up. And people did. You know, it started out just one or two people. And then maybe one of them told a friend, or they posted on another channel, hey, there's a guy over here that did this, right? And then a couple of people came over, and that's sort of how it started. I've not marketed this channel. I do not market it. Nowhere. I just don't do that. Like I said, I got the Instagram and I did those things, but I don't do anything with them. But that's why I'm small at only 300. But that's also why I can give away all those goodies. And I know some of you weren't here, but because I've hit 300, I'm going to have a drawing. And I didn't explain how the drawing is going to work. I'll put it, once this video is uploaded, I will put in the description how the drawing is actually going to work. But it's basically going to be similar to what I've done in the past, where you'll post a message and then respond to other people's messages. The purpose behind this is to give a thanks back. I've done giveaways before. This one's much bigger than any giveaway I've done before. Like I said, it's almost 7 pounds of soaps and lotions and bath salts and all that kind of stuff. I love to do that. I love to give it away. That I get joy out of. So being able to do this is a lot of fun. So where was I going with that? Don't know. Oh yeah, that's where I was going with this. So sure, a few people may say, oh, look what I got. Patrick, I won this in a drawing. Yes, I've had other channels do that sort of thing, which is really nice. If a soaper wins it, and they want to do that on their channel, they have a right to. I've not asked anybody to do a review of my soaps, but people do these things sometimes. And so you can grow kind of naturally from that. So that's for all of you. I just wanted to let you know, but if you already have friends like you have here, we can help you get started. And I'm little, so I can't help you that much, but I'll do what I can, and the other people here, I'm sure, would as well. There is no competition. Where I live, I think there is another soaper nearby. There are probably several. I haven't gone out and met them. There's not really a soaping group here that I know of. But anyway, so we all have our own little niches, and none of us are going to. I'm sure that Nicole in Las Vegas is not the only soaper there. And the same is true of all of us wherever we live. We are sharing the market with a lot of people, so it's not really a competition. Now, if you've got your product in a store, somewhere where other people have theirs too, then it's probably a competition. Fantastic, Lynn. I think that's terrific. I'm all for it. I love watching new people start, or even if they're not new people. Maybe they're people who've been soaping for years, but they're just starting out on YouTube. That's what I was, and that's what others are, All I ever did was very sort of plain sort of things using my natural stuff. I didn't think anybody would care. I really didn't. Because that's why a few of the videos I did, I actually got some micas and I tried to do that, and it felt unnatural to me. I think I have 2 or 3 videos on this channel in a row where I did some with mica and colors. They're easy to spot because of the colors. And I didn't care for it. for me. I'm not judging Micah. It just didn't look natural to me. It's not what I like to see. So you're going to do what you like and what is natural to you. And that can be anything. All right. Well, team, this has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed this. But what I'm going to do is once this video posts, I will, in the description, put some information about the contest. Because again, you don't have anything to lose. You don't have to invest anything in it other than a comment, a thumbs up. I really appreciate thumbs up. They really do help. If nothing else, they help the channel with other people that come to the channel to see that, oh, well, people that are here do like what they see here. So maybe they want to stick around. That's really my only reason. And because other soapers told me that the thumbs up help. I don't know. So give a thumbs up to this if you don't mind. If you haven't, do so. I can't tell if you do, but if you do, that's great. But I think it'll be a lot of fun, but I have to get back to work. I've actually got someone buzzing me now, so I do have to go. But I want to tell you thank you for coming. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed having you all here. So have a fantastic day. We'll do this again soon. And thank you. Thumbs up to you all. Have a beautiful day and a very soapy weekend. Goodbye. I said goodbye. I have to figure out how to end the stream. There we go.